November 2019, I started to have a bit of a chest infection. Went to the GP, got some antibiotics, didn't seem to work. Couple more visits, got to the stage felt like I was losing function in my hands. My legs were incredibly sore. Alison, my wife, she wasn't too pleased with my colour and thought that a hospital visit would be best. So we came to Frankston Hospital, got into emergency pretty quickly. They did my obs and initially thought I might have had mycoplasma pneumonia. And probably an hour after that, I was going to be admitted. Alison went home to get some things for me because I was going to go to the ward. Within that hour, I had crashed, ended up in resus, and it was suspected that I had GBS, Guillain-Barré syndrome. I ended up staying in ICU for about 4 months until the end of March 2020. And through that time, the staff were amazing. They, not only did they care for me, but they cared for the family, my kids as well. They worked round the clock in trying to make me as comfortable as I could be, which was really difficult. With GBS, I had it very severely, to the point where I ended up having to have a tracheostomy. That took away my ability to speak, but I'd actually lost everything from head to toe. I couldn't open my eyes, I couldn't move a muscle, so my ability to communicate with the outside world was taken away from me, which was very, very difficult. So it's a scary time to go through that, particularly for Allan, the kids and my parents. But the guys, the neuro doctors and particularly Cavi in at ICU, they were pretty quick to establish that yes, it was GBS. We'd done a lumbar puncture. Once they'd established that, I was on IVIG to try and help with the antibodies to stop my body attacking itself. And I was constantly under observation, and the guys were trying their best to make me feel comfortable.
Yeah, so they did 2 rounds of IVIG over the course of November, December, and that, yeah, wasn't doing anything. He had no pupil dilation, no nothing. So they decided to change it to plasmapheresis just before Christmas, and then by the Boxing Day we started getting a little bit of pupil dilation. So, and then gradually it was not until sort of then January that we were able to open his eyes and start seeing slight movement, and the look up for yes and down for no. And then gradually a little bit more by February, his eyes were able to gradually start opening. And then in March, they felt that because he was going to be ventilated for a long period of time, we needed to move him over to the Austin in Heidelberg to the weaning unit where they specialise in getting people off the ventilator. So at the end of March, which was just before COVID, well, I think around about that time, so we were lucky because yeah, obviously with the ICU you weren't allowed in, but the team, yeah, they were phenomenal.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, and that can't be truer for ICU. We had the doctors, neurologists, the nurses, all the way down to the PSA staff were amazing. They knew our names. I couldn't communicate. They would come in, some would tell riddles and jokes. They would make the kids feel at home. They'd make Al feel comfortable. They started to get a sense of what, not just mine, but Al's up and downs were. Times where it was emotional, anxious, and each person in their own way was able to just wrap their arms around us and just really made us feel as safe as we could, because let's face it, it wasn't a nice situation. Hospital ICU is not a place that people want to visit. If you can, you'd never see it. But we needed it, and we're so thankful that we have the team at Frankston ICU that were able to care for us in the way that they did. The first time that my kids came in, Kathy took their hand. I mean, she's a busy doctor, and she took their hand, brought them through and explained the various tubes that were in my mouth, my nose, my neck, that I was hooked up to all these machines, and really tried to minimise the impact that it would have on the boys, because let's face it, all these computers and medical apparatus machines, it's pretty daunting to anyone, let alone a 10 and an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
So for her to take the time out to make them feel comfortable just meant the world to us.
Yeah, well, they left that day and they went, that made me feel better. Like what she did, yeah, really helped them get through that part. Yeah. It was, yeah. Thank you. It was, yeah, not an easy part for them, and yeah, I mean, the whole journey, we didn't get Allan out of hospital until October last year. So we've only nearly 2 years all up. But, so yeah, leaving ICU was very tough.
Yeah.
They were our safety net for the 4 tough months. ICU, they see it at the worst, but they never get to experience the journey and the positives of, you know, of how their amazing work to get him stabilised and start getting him back to us, you know, because yeah, they weren't sure. They weren't sure, so, you know, hopefully one day we can actually go in and see them and they can talk to Allan, because he was, yeah, obviously not able to communicate with them or anything like that, and sort of, yeah, we'd had to come back into emergency not long ago just for something else for Allan, and one of the nurses that was looking after us at the time, she saw Allan and she got quite emotional. She came around and was, you know, so pleased. Like, she's like, oh my, I think about you guys all the time, and you know, we've got a friend that works in ICU as well, so she gives everybody updates, and they're just such a beautiful, close knit, you know.
You expect hospital staff to have a fair degree of empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
But when you experience it,
Yeah.
and you start to know that it's true, that they do have that, it makes what you're going through just that little bit easier.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a toughen up battle.
Yeah.
And to have people care for you in the way that the Frankston ICU team did was it was amazing. It was reassuring.
Yeah.
I would just love to encourage anyone that is able to contribute in any way they can to mental health, to the ICU in particular, because it's life-changing, and they don't need donations of empathy and compassion because they have that in spades. What they need is the machines and the equipment to help people on their journey to get out of ICU and hopefully back home. You don't think you need ICU until you do.
Yeah.
And when you get there, you want to be sure that they're going to take care of you in the best way that they can. And to do that, they need the best equipment.
Yeah.
And so I implore anyone that's able to dig as deep as they can.
Yeah.
Because it's a worthwhile organisation to contribute to.
Yeah. Well, we've still got Allan here today because of all their amazing care. They made it all happen. They didn't hesitate. They just, yeah, definitely.